A while ago, KRU, a team from Chile, did the unthinkable. They upset Sentinels, the best team in the world, at the biggest Valorant event of the year, the VCT Champions. In this video, we're going to find out exactly how they did it. For context, the map score is 1-1 in a best of 3. Whoever wins his third map on split will qualify for playoffs, and the other team will be eliminated and sent home. Let's get into it. To start off, KRU opens with a 1-3-1 default. They're looking to fight for mid control with the 3 players mid in Astra smoke vents. Viper and Astra's job is to maintain control of the extremities, ready to punish any ambitious flankers. Let's address the elephant on the map so we don't need to talk about it later. The 2 Viper walls. What the hell do they do? Sentinel's Viper wall stretches from top ramp to bottom mid. When this wall goes up at the start of a round, it gives Sentinels mid control and it allows them to push up, get set up in off angles, and into close corners without being punished. Also, if KRU decides to take ramp control, this wall will delay them and help Sentinels maintain a heaven control. KRU's Viper wall on B does a few things. First, the wall allows KRU to potentially walk out B main behind the cover of the wall without Sentinels ever knowing. Second, it breaks 2 crucial crossfires, the close crossfire from close left to new box heaven or hell, and the crossfire between default and backside. There's a third reason, but it's kind of advanced and a pain to explain, so I'll let you guys guess in the comments below. The round kicks off with Sentinels putting up their Viper wall mid and Shahzam sky flashing through the wall. This gives Sentinels early info into KRU's positioning. KRU skydogs and raise Roombas through the wall to also get info and take mid control. This pushes TenZ and Shahzam back, not allowing them to take space mid. KRU then flashes and triple swings through the wall. TenZ knows they won't expect him to swing through the smoke like a maniac, so he confidently swings out, takes a shot, and then dashes away. With TenZ dashless and Shahzam low on health, Sentinels give up mid control. Look at the map, it's only 25 seconds in the round and 3 members of Sentinels are pushed into their spawn. With this mid control, KRU inserts a lurker in male and another in vents, while everyone else regroups B for the execute. Meanwhile, Sentinels group up and position themselves on the same side of B. Remember, this is because KRU's Viper wall counters crossfires, so it's better for Sentinels to group up and fight together rather than set up a crossfire only to get divided and isolated by the Viper wall. KRU puts up their Viper wall and walks into B. Sky flashes to start up the fight and the trades go through. keznit kills Sick, Sentinels need to deal with them before retaking the site. keznit jumps, lands a jumping headshot on Shaz, kills Dapr, and his teammates finish off Shahzam. Because of KRU's mid control, combined with their Viper wall that lets them walk onto B for free, Sentinels found themselves pinched while they were trying to retake. An incredibly solid round from KRU, but can they keep this up? KRU starts with a 2-2-1 default. Their primary goal is to get B main control while holding for any aggressive mid or A pushes from Sentinels. Sentinels run basically the same setup as last round. They don't want to show any crazy strats just yet. Off the start, keznit Roombas B main and Klaus throws a Viper smoke lineup from B lobby onto B site. In response to the utility, Zombs smokes off the B main choke. This all allows keznit to safely grab the B main orb. Let's rewind and look at mid. Right when the round starts, Sentinels puts up their mid Viper wall and TenZ walks out mid to get into an off angle. KRU also puts 3 stars mid, but doesn't actually use them since they're just holding a crossfire. Immediately after keznit takes the B main orb, Mazino skydogs mid to clear all the close angles while NagZ follows right behind it. The dog sees nothing and that allows NagZ to walk all the way up into B heaven. Sentinels know that keznit and Klaus were B main since they saw the Roomba and the Viper smoke off the start. They also heard Mazino's skydog up mid and it's safe to assume there's at least one person following the dog. So Sentinels are confident that there's at least 3 to 4 members of KRU towards mid and B. Since they gave up B main, mid, and B heaven, they double push A main to take back some space. They learned from the last round where they just sat back and gave KRU all the map control. Yes, the best teams adapt this fast. Sick picks off DETHRONE who was defaulting A. Because DETHRONE died, KRU knows that Sentinels knows that they're heavy mid and B. So before Sentinels can fully rotate, KRU picks up the pace and rushes onto B. Shaz and Zombs gets pinched on site.
Gonna be on cleanup duty here.
TenZ wasn't aware of keznit's aggressive position and dies. And eventually KRU finishes off the last 2 members of Sentinels. Remember how last round KRU put 3 stars mid but didn't actually use any of them? Well, Sentinels remember that too, and that's what leads to their downfall. This is different. KRU starts with 2 outside B main and 3 mid. They've defaulted for the past few rounds and now they're looking to change it up. Sentinels run a similar setup as the last 2 rounds, with the only change being Sick and Dapr are playing on A site and Zombs is starting the round at pillar instead of back site. Remember how last round KRU threw 3 Astra stars mid but didn't actually end up using any of them? Sentinels remember that too. They learned that they don't need to respect it. Right off the start, Shahzam flashes mid and TenZ swings out to take a fight, but KRU responds with a sky flash of their own, pushing TenZ and Shahzam back right into their Astra suck and stun. At the same time, keznit double satchels and NagZ dashes up mid and mows down TenZ and Shaz.
NagZ finds 2!
NagZ then kills Zombs and KRU gets a spike down 20 seconds into the round. Sick and Dapr dies and KRU wins their bonus round. Sentinels call a timeout. I would too after seeing that massacre. Because KRU won their bonus round last round, their economy is in a really good place. They're starting to gain momentum. What will Sentinels do about it?
Six of those opened up the gateway towards it. Oh, TenZ couldn't make much of that one, and they're just about keeping this in check for KRU. One by one they come, and one by one they fall. Shahzam still trying to make something of this, and this is getting shut down.
Okay, well, Sentinels was saving this round. Now this is where Sentinels need to turn the tides. The round score is 8-8, both teams have full buys. The difference is, if Sentinels loses, they'll be broke next round and KRU will be basically maxed out on credits. And if KRU loses, they'll still be able to buy for another 2 to 3 rounds, so they're chilling right now. This round is crucial for Sentinels. Sentinels decide to change up the setup. Now they have Sage mid instead of A, Astra A instead of B, and Jet on B instead of mid. Meanwhile, KRU is running a 2-2-1 default. They're one-off Viper ult and Astra ult, so their game plan is to get B main control, farm the orb for Viper ult, and then let Astra plant for Astra ult. The round starts and Mazino throws a Sky Flash towards the B main entrance. This Sky Flash stops any aggressive B main peeks from Sentinels, plus it gets KRU info if someone was pushing up. TenZ just barely dodges the flash though, so KRU doesn't know that TenZ is still posted there with his op. At the exact same time, Dapr Viper ults a main, getting a main control for Sentinels. And in mid, Six slow orbs market and walks out mid with Shahzam Sky Flash. keznit counters with his Roomba, stopping Six from pushing down. Both teams are trading utility mid, keeping each other honest. Mazino and Klaus works up B main, they put up their Viper wall and smoke, and then Skydogs out. They're not giving TenZ any chance of getting a pick while systematically gaining map control with their utility. Mazino's Skydog forces TenZ to dash away. Shahzam sends his dog back to regain the lost space. KRU makes a lot of noise running away from B, while NagZ and DETHRONE slowly work up mid. They seem a bit indecisive about what they want to do. NagZ walks up mid and sees that Sentinels ward B heaven and calms it to his team. Then Shahzam throws a Sky Flash that pops back sight. The Sky Flash sees nothing. Klaus hears Shahzam's Sky Flash pop. He knows that the Flash didn't see anything either, so he tells his team, guys, come regroup B, they're probably going to stack A. So KRU starts to regroup B main while NagZ lurks mid. Now from Sentinel's point of view, they have B heaven walled, they have a Viper ult A main, and TenZ is holding B main with his op. So Shahzam makes a read that KRU is probably going to hit A through vents, so he rotates over to A. Unfortunately, as we can see, KRU was one step ahead of him and his read was off. KRU executes on the site, all the utility makes it so that TenZ can't find anything with his op. During all this, look at NagZ. He lurks at B heaven, he gets an insane timing and enters the heaven smoke before Zombs could see him. He gets a kill on TenZ and is immediately traded.
There's the lurk, comes on in.
Shahzam thinks he can make an unexpected play and dives into the Viper pit by himself and finds a kill. But then he gets greedy and pushes into the pit again and gets punished. TenZ then runs through the Astra wall by himself and gets punished since there was a crack in the smoke. Then Dapr swings into the Viper pit by himself and dies. And Sick, the last man standing, gets swarmed and killed. You can tell the pressure is getting to Sentinels. The retake was surprisingly uncoordinated and it looks like every player was trying to make individual hero plays, whereas KRU systematically worked the map, had the right reads, and then played together in a disciplined fashion. A solid round from KRU. KRU now has full momentum. They're so stacked in credits that they can probably full buy for the rest of the game. But Sentinels have worked miracles in the past. They're a team that adapts and conquers. Let's see how the rest of the rounds play out. KRU starts with a 2-2-1 default, but this is different from their previous defaults. The Viper is starting A now, and she's putting her wall up on A side. This wall helps KRU get A main control and top ramp control, and it's a really strong lurk wall. Sentinels are on a save round, so they're all grouped up heaven, looking like they're about to fight mid. And then they see KRU's double Astra stars on the ground. They say nope, fuck that, and they spread apart. TenZ walks down mid, hoping to get a cheesy kill, but KRU is aware of that spot and TenZ gets spammed down. Meanwhile, Sick is playing up close with his frenzy on B. He hears KRU running away. Dapr pushes up A to take some space and he gets punished by Klaus, who was holding for him. With all this info, Sentinels thinks KRU is either regrouping for an A split through mid or doing a full-on A hit through A main. They realize they've been losing rounds lately because they aren't taking enough mid-round map control, so they all regroup mid for a mid push. But KRU is one step ahead of them again. Even though they're up 2 players, they stay disciplined and hold for Sentinels, predicting that they're going to make a mid-round play. They end up trading 1 for 1. NagZ knows that Sentinels probably wants the rifle, so he stays in sewers to guard the gun. Meanwhile, Klaus lurks up A main and ramp behind the cover of his Viper wall and tucks himself in vents. With sewers and ramp control, the rest of KRU can freely sprint to A, knowing that Sentinels won't be able to hear them rotating. KRU plants a spike for heaven and positions 3 players towards heaven. Zombs wins his 1v1 against Klaus, but KRU's double ramp sib completely destroyed the rest of Sentinels. Sentinels are finally back on the full buy. This is the most important round in the game. If KRU wins this round, Sentinels will be broke and that'll basically give KRU match and series point. If Sentinels win this round, it'll be their first step to clawing their way back into the game. Both teams know this is a pivotal round and you can see the adaptations. KRU has 3 mid and 2 A main. For the first time this half, KRU does not have anyone watching B main. With the Viper wall on A side now, they are positioning themselves for an A split. This is their first time using this strat this game. As for Sentinels, they're starting to realize that ever since that one round in mid, they've been giving up mid and it's been screwing them. So they're opening the round with 3 mid. Sentinels want mid control, but KRU also want mid control. The barriers drop and both teams utility dump mid.
Now this could be KRU to 11 and Sentinels bankrupt.
TenZ wants to be the difference maker.
Wait, did you guys catch that? TenZ gets smoked off at the start, so he peeks out of the smoke to take a shot and then dash away. But KRU's Astra smoke wasn't a real smoke, it was a recalled smoke. So now TenZ is completely out in the open and gets gunned down by KRU. Yes, he missed his dash, but even if he did dash perfectly backwards, he'd still get traded since he didn't have the enemy smoke for cover. KRU smokes off male since they're planning to A-split through vents, and they explode towards A after their mid pick. Sentinels are caught off guard by the tempo change and they're late to rotate. It's now Dapr versus the world.
Sick at least catches that player in mid. That's Mazino, but the side crunch comes in!
Dapr!
And Dapr stands! And he tries to deliver! He's done everything to give them a shot at this, a 3v2. NagZ and Klaus still alive, still trying to fight with everything they can, but this is all on...
Dapr opened up the round for Sentinels, but now can Sentinels win this 2v1, especially when Shahzam is so low?
Seconds to play with. He wants to get that spike down if he can, but this is so risky. Now going to be closed in on. The wall got drawn. He's going to fight Shahzam! Oh, Zombs!
Zombs finishes off Klaus, and they unclenches their butt cheeks. Despite winning the last round, since 4 members of Sentinels died, they're only able to afford 2 rifles and 2 Spectres. TenZ has his jet knives this round. Speaking of Sentinels, they've realized that mid control is essential to stopping KRU, so they start off with 3 B heaven, 1 on both A and B site. As for KRU, they decide to go back to what works. They have their usual Viper wall B, and they're running a 2-2-1 default. Shahzam sky flashes mid off the start to get early info. Notice that Sentinels B heaven players are respecting KRU's double Astra stars and are standing behind it. After the first few seconds, it's clear to Sentinels that KRU isn't doing their crazy tempo play mid, and so they skydog mid to get space and info. KRU gives up the space, and then they take it back with their own skydog. NagZ gets low and dashes away before TenZ could finish him off. Zombs and TenZ reposition back to heaven after they've shown presence mid. You can tell Sentinels are prepared to receive a B split from KRU since they have 4 people B side. But KRU senses this. They skyflash mid to fake mid presence and then they all regroup A. TenZ is jiggling mid, so Sentinels knows that there's nothing up mid yet. This prompts Shahzam to lean towards A.
Again, tasked with such a terrible predicament in front of him. How do I deal with all these players? Do I go anti-flash? Do I try and face?
The timing!
Just walk out!
No way, Dapr!
Dapr gets timing, but a miracle happens and he somehow manages to get a double kill. Spike is dropped out in the open. Sentinels surround KRU and finish them off. KRU feels the NA hopium in the air and calls the timeout. KRU starts off the round with everyone grouped A main. They haven't done anything explosive ever since that mid round. They decide this is the round to change up the pace again. Meanwhile, Sentinels also change up their setup. They have 2 on each site and Sage solo hold mid from vents. They also have a gut feeling that KRU is going to hit the extremities. Keznit dives onto A with his ult. Shahzam and Zombs get ready to fight for site together.
Clear that corner, back by Pillar, who just sends it, he loses life. Zombs from up on top by the...
Zombs gets 1 and gets traded. Sentinels make a call to fast retake. They split up 2 heaven, 2 screens. Shahzam dog screens to clear the Viper ult and TenZ follows behind it. Dapr and 6 swings out of heaven and gets 1 each. TenZ kills Klaus thanks to Shahzam's skydog, and Sentinels wipe KRU off the map. This round, from start to defuse, lasted only 42 seconds. Somehow, Sentinels have turned the tides. For the first time since the start of the half, they're up on rounds and their economy is in a really healthy spot. As for KRU, even though they can full buy now, if they lose this round, they'll be completely broke next round, which also happens to be match and series point for Sentinels. KRU has their back against the wall. For them, this is the most crucial round in the game. KRU opens with a 1-2-2 default with their Viper wall in A. They haven't done this default before. They want to fully utilize their Viper wall and work in A split. As for Sentinels, they're going with a 2-1-2 setup. They've been playing heavy mid in the recent rounds and now they want to change it up. 6 slows market off the start to show mid presence and to slow down KRU's mid control. Mazino just skydogs right through the slow though, and since Sentinels have no one to shoot the dog, it clears mid and male for KRU. Shahzam dogs down ramp in response. His dog sees 2 members of KRU in A main, so KRU just slows it down. They're waiting for their mid members to slowly work up mid. keznit eventually gets male control and just chills there. KRU keeps playing it slow. They don't want to make any mistakes. Fast forward some time, Sick gets a pick on keznit and gets traded by Mazino. Mazino sky flashes B heaven to fake the B hit, but Sentinels don't take the bait. KRU converges A heaven and splits A.
Up by rafters, 1 tucked towards the back of sight. And there's the first contact, it's good for Shahzam!
Shahzam gets 2 kills and gets traded. Dapr was unaware that there could be an enemy in the smoke and gets punished. With 12 seconds left, Zombs just needs to play time, but he gets picked off right as he was getting behind cover.
Finding the way right to the site. Spike going down, and it's TenZ, the man, the myth, and pretty much the quiet.
TenZ tries his best to stop the plant, but gets taken down by Mazino. Sentinels call a timeout. Both Sentinels and KRU basically used up all their credits to full buy this round. The team that loses this round will be going into match and series point broke. There is no room for error. KRU starts off with a 2-2-1 setup. Klaus is starting A, so the Viper wall is going towards A side. As for Sentinels, they're doing something very different. They have 3 on A, ready to aggressively push A main. They're giving up mid and they're playing 2 on B. This is what they were talking about in their timeout. The round starts, Sentinel pushes up A main and KRU pushes into B main. Dapr dry peeks through the wall by himself and gets punished. Sick then dry peeks through the wall by himself and gets a trade. He then reses Dapr. I'm a little bit confused why Sentinels were baiting each other there, but at least it worked out for them. Off of Klaus's death, KRU speeds things up. They want to hit B before Sentinels can regroup. KRU immediately gather B main and execute on the site.
So late on in this half. Zombs and TenZ though, got to deal with this pressure onto B. Actually, they're straight onto site here.
Yeah, but they haven't quite crested yet. TenZ still catching that cross, still going to be doing some damage to try and wrap towards the pillar. Deltic finds 6 and now he's on his own, and now he's been deleted. They now know pressure comes in from further afield. Zombs gets cleared at the back of the side, but Dapr still closing in. Has to relent away from the Seekers, has to accept that he has to peel away, but he does a little bit of chip damage towards Mazino. And now the 2v2 flash comes in, but he's going to tuck himself in towards the backside of that box. NagZ.
One enemy remaining.
They trade out.
Only Dapr and NagZ left, the most important 1v1 in this game.
Rifle.
But now is the time to come alive, and Dapr on the other side, 2 beasts in this one. Dapr! Oh, no way!
NagZ wins a 1v1, Sentinels goes into match, series, and elimination point broke. But hey, remember, this is Split, the map of close engagements. SMGs and shotguns are king on this map. Even though Sentinels can't full buy, they still have a good chance of taking this round. KRU starts again with their 2-2-1 default with their Viper wall on the A side of the map. Meanwhile, Sentinels is looking to get aggressive B main this time. They're giving up mid and playing 2A heaven. The barriers drop and keznit Roombas B main as usual to get that control. Sentinels don't want to alert KRU of their setup just yet, so they smoke off B main to avoid the Roomba. They want to pounce when KRU goes for the orb.
For greatness, and they're gonna flash in! No way! keznit destroys 3 through the smoke!
Well, that just happened.
As it's all down to Dapr and Sick. Dapr, it's your time to shine right about now. It's all on you, buddy. Surrounded on all fronts. It's over! It's done with! KRU against all of our expectations, against
And that is the story of how KRU upset Sentinels. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this type of content, let me know by clicking that like and subscribe button. I will see you in the next video. Have an amazing day.